Right then, welcome back, and today, oh yes, we are going to do a setup video for this little beauty, the 2006 Kawasaki Z1000. Now, I was a little bit torn on whether I was going to do this or the ZZR 1400 or ZX14 or whatever name we are applying to it today, but I think we've been a bit sports bike mad, so I thought we'd do a naked, we'd do a little bit of a naked bike, and I'll paint the wheels green, just because I can, and without wanting to spoil what's coming up. This thing's quite quick. I didn't have the highest of hopes for it. It's only N750, that's its rating. It's quite an old bike. It's 16 years old now, so it's approaching classic status. Humble pie was consumed because this thing, well, it's quick. Not only is it quick, it's good to ride. So, no more mucking about. Let's get on with it. So where do we go? Well, I wanted to mix it up a little bit. I say a little bit, only a little bit, not a lot. Not a lot, just a little bit. Use some slightly different tracks, use some classics. Setup wise, I did an absolutely bog standard 2 and 8 on the suspension, so 2 front preload, 8 rear, 8 other front suspension settings, 2 rear. We staggered the gearing, we added a couple onto the final ratio and went aggressive on the calibrations, and we started off at Sugo on a pair of softs. Now, this bike has a really rather good front end on it, and I don't mean it looks good, I mean it handles a lot better than them two. It handles very, very well. Now, the downside to this is it annihilates front tyres. It's not the heaviest bike in the world, it's not the most powerful bike in the world, but it will destroy a soft front tyre quite happily. And then when the front's barbecued, it'll also barbecue the rear. And it took me a couple of laps, just this race, and then I go on the leaderboards to realise that that was the case. What it doesn't have is a massive amount of top speed. It's a naked, but it is very, very, very good on the front end. Even if you overcook it like I did just then, it'll still let you use the brakes and drag it back, a little bit of back brake. It is very, 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 very good. It'll slide about, it'll run over the curbs. You can do pretty much anything. It's not the most stable bike in the world. You see how it's sliding about there? Don't worry, I'll remedy that in a minute. It just required a little click here, a little click there, and all of a sudden we had a bike that was very, very competitive in the N700 to 799 or whatever category it was on the leaderboard. The same one as the CBR 600R I did the other day. But front tyres, look at the state of that one. It is absolutely sunburnt. Like a Glaswegian in Spain in July, it is really rather red. And the rear one's about to join it as well. It won't be much longer, a couple more corners, but you can see it sliding about. The tyres are just goosed. There's no grip whatsoever. We're not going to catch up with a Portuguese rider at the front. They're just going to ride away from us. And yeah, we did, what did we do? We did a 129.9, which would have put us 40th. And I've not worked out where my line is yet to do a little blast on the leaderboards. Is it the top 50? Is it the top 40? Is it top whatever? I don't know, but it went 40th, but the tyres were all over. I mean, look at the state of them. Absolutely awful. So we went again. I went to a medium front with a soft rear. I went to 10 on the front suspension setting, and to stop the bike sliding, I did +1 on the rear spring. Don't worry, you'll see the setting when we get there. And we ended up doing a 128.2 with a little bit more in the tank down the bottom, 127.9 potential, so 128.2, and that put us 11th. Well, 12th, 11th, 12th. It put us 12th, which I didn't think was too bad. So I thought, right, if it's all about the front end, we'll go somewhere that punishes front tyres. We'll go to Tsukuba and we'll give it another blast. Now, I kept the suspension settings from the time attack, so 2 and 8 front and rear preload, +10 front suspension settings, and then 2 on the rear rebound and compression. Sorry, Mr. Hedge Abuser, but that looked like it hurt. And then we went to 3 on the rear spring just to support the bike on that initial crack of the throttle to stop it sliding off the side of the tyre. And as you can see, apart from me running over the curbs and getting time penalties, it's much better. There's much more forward drive, so it was a positive change. It was a good thing. And the first lap was carnage. There was bikes everywhere. We were up the inside, round the outside. The Red CB in front of us, ridden by the Antipodean rider. I can't work out if that's an Australian or a New Zealand flag, my apologies. They were quite quick, as was the Japanese rider out front. It took a while, and we never got anywhere near, but we did cook another front tyre. So we've had a barbecued front and a braised rear, and now I've had another barbecued front and a slightly sautéed rear. So we're doing alright. We went back and did a time attack. We did a 55.5 in the race. That would have put us 40th. So I went back on a hard front, soft rear, and we ended up doing a 54.9, and that would have put us, I think, 16th. 54.7 was the potential, so it's just putting that perfect lap together. It is quite difficult. No, 14th. No, 16th. 14th is the street triple. It would have put us 16th. Again, the pesky street triple was causing carnage. So we went to the Nurburgring GP Sprint course. So this is like half of the big lap. There was a little bit of mucking about off the start, but we just went with it. And the front end, oh my good lord, the front end was just absolutely unbelievable. Into that first corner, brake late, hold a tight line, turn tight, fire out, you're in second, well done. On a bike that doesn't have a massive amount of pace. Out of here, up to the right-hander under this little gantry, the 1098 Ducati's absolutely annihilating us on pace. A little bit of a nudge. A lot of bikes would have run on there, run onto the grass, but they didn't. And through here, it was just awesome. The gearing, we judged the gearing really well. It just kissed the limiter on exit. Back onto the fat part of the tyre, everything's all good. Back wheel off the floor under braking, through the chicane, and yeah, just nice. And it felt good. I mean, look at the front end, like right out to the curb, on the brakes, all the way in, still on the brakes off at the apex, and round you go. It is just such a nice bike to ride on the front end. Yes, the front suspension's maxed out, I appreciate that, but I'm now running a medium tyre, so if you are a little bit steadier, you can run a soft, or you could just knock the front end down to 9, it doesn't really matter. We did a 127.6 in the race, a 127.667 to be exact, and that would have put us first. Yep, no time attack, just in the race, mucking about, first place on the leaderboard. So we went back, I put a hard tyre in the front, left the soft, no other changes, went back, we knocked it down to a 126.8, and on lap number 6 we knocked another couple of tenths down, another couple of tenths off it, and we got down to a 126.654, which is about a second faster than the race time. So yeah, we were first, well, by a considerable margin. Potential's a 126.1, so there's another half a second to come out of it yet. And on the leaderboards, well, yeah, we're 1.1 seconds clear on a bike that is 40-50 PI away from where it needs to be. So I got a bit excited, I got a bit giddy. I thought, we'll go to Alton Foster's, we'll give it a go. Made an absolute haberdashery of a couple of starts. We did finally get away, but look at the competition. We've got Hayabusas, we've got other Z4s, we've got street triples, we've got Rivalis, we've got all sorts. It was just carnage again, bikes all over the shop, people playing ping pong. That's the Hayabusa from the back row that's gone absolutely belting down the outside. But again, the front end, I mean, there was a little kiss there, I do apologise, that was a bit rude, but past two bikes on the way into turn 5, 6, whatever it is, up the hill, up Clay Hill, into the left-hander, then the double right-hander before we go down the little back straight, and through Druids, and it just up the inside. Most bikes, I like to ride around the outside, but this thing was like, no, I'll go up the inside, I'll do whatever you want. By the end of lap 1, after a horrendous start, we've used the front end and the drive, and we've got past everything and we're away. Yes, I like the track, yes, I like the bike, it's a nice little combination, but again, it slides about, it doesn't have the power to boogie as much as other bikes, but it will move about, it just feels so nice to ride. We did a 56.5 in the race, which, I mean, look at that slide, it's just glorious. It did a 56.5 in the race, which would have put us 9th on the leaderboard. We did go back. I ran a medium soft in the race. I ran a medium, and we ended up doing a 55.5, potential for a 55.2. The potential is that could go top. 55.2 is top. We did a 55.5, which would have put us fourth. But the CBR 600 from the other day is still king on that one for me. So we went to UMC, but not the full UMC or the outer. We went to UMC West, Utah West, and it was just a little bit of ping pong again off the start. Everyone's all over the shop. Big wide track, and apparently 20 bikes can't not run into each other. So we finally got a clean start, went all the way down the outside, a little bit hot into turn one, but again the front end saved us, a little bit of back brake, and it just pulled it back in, and within a few corners we were back in the front, which, like I say, for a bike at N750 was, well, it was just pure rude, to be honest. We did try and cook the tyre. I was trying to ride it hard on purpose into the last corner. This corner's a bit weird. It's got like 3 apexes, but only 2 apexes at the same time, and we ended up doing a 124.0 on a medium front soft rear. I went back, did a time attack, and we got it down to a 123.184 on a hard soft, which would have put us, what, third, but through that triple, the second triple left-hander, it was really good, into this opening right-hander again, just a little bit of slide on the exit on the brakes, and it's just nice. And I know I've said it about 500 times already, but if you're after a bike to do races on, naked races, whatever races, this thing, it'll suit everybody. From people who've not done a massive amount of time in the game, it's so stable and usable, to people who've done tens of thousands of miles and want something to throw about and slide about. It will do it all, it'll do whatever you want. But yeah, like I say, 123.1, potential wasn't a lot quicker. We pretty much maximised the lap time there, and that would have put us third. Again, we're nearly 50 pi down on the things around. I mean, a 121.7 is absolutely mega fast, but we're not far off. So, how does it get on in the wet? And yes, we're not at Kanto South. Oh, what is happening? The spring equinox must have done some funny things to my brain. But yeah, we went to Road Atlanta Short in the wet just for a bit of a muck about. There are corners that you can slide it about. I didn't anticipate it doing all sorts of stuff. It handles the bumps really well. The 2 American riders out front were properly quick. One's on, I think, a Rivali. I can't remember what the other one's on. We'll see. Probably a Phaser or something. But the Rivali, I stuck it up the inside. They were having none of it. Go on, get that right up you. Yeah, very, very, very aggressive. The AI had obviously been out in the sun all day and were feeling rather feisty, so we just stuck it up the inside a couple of corners later. And then went after his mate out front, which, again, we had enough power just to get it moving about, wiggling. It's on the wet, it's on a drying track, so with dry tyres on, it doesn't really do much. Can't really work out which one. Is it a Phaser? It might be a GSX 1000S Suzuki, something like that. But whatever it is, it's got a lot more go than we've got, and it should absolutely trounce us. But the chassis on this Z1000 is absolutely sweet as a nut. Like I say, it'll move about, you get a bit of wiggling, we're putting a bit of heat through the rear tyre, but it's not anything major. We did a 59.8 in the race, 48th, went again in the dry with a medium front soft rear, and we did a 56.0, which would have put us fourth. It just laps it up. It's a really, really nice bike to use, and surprised me. I wasn't expecting much. I thought it would be a bit of a letdown after running the endurance bikes and doing the CBR. The CBR was mega. This is not far behind. I really, really enjoyed doing this. Potential for a 55.7, the 56.0, like I said, would have put us fourth. The 55.7 would have put us into third, and then a couple of tenths. 54.9, I mean, it's what? Oh, it's 1 and a bit seconds to get up there, but we'll see. So setup wise, 2 and 8 on the preload, 10 on the front end, 3 for the rear spring, 2 for the rear compression and rebound. We graduated the gearing, we added a bit to the gearing to get a bit more top speed, and the calibration's on aggressive. Pros and cons: very stable handling, and because it's very stable and it'll let you run over curbs and abuse the front end, it's quick over a lap. There is a bit of a rhythm to it. You can run fast lines, you can V things off, so you can run high corner speed or you can do point and squirt. It's only 150 horsepower tuned up. It's not going to blast past everything. It is in the second tier down, it's not in the top tier, so just take that into account. I think it's a leaderboard weapon, especially for something that's N750. It has no right to be swimming in the top 10 at a lot of tracks. If there's a long straight, obviously not. I avoided tracks with long straights as much as possible because it doesn't have a massive amount of top end. but for an N750 it is very, very, very usable indeed. Cons: it destroys front tyres, absolutely ruins them. You run a soft reasonably quick and you're just going to barbecue it. It doesn't really affect the handling until it gets too warm. It won't pancake it, it won't like push it past its limit, it won't slide off the front, but it will put a massive amount of heat through there. The top speed's not great, and the clocks are bloody awful. I'll put the replays up. I've done a couple of them where we've gone on board for a lap. They're just... I've rode a Z1000, I've rode a ZX6R, and I've also had a little bit of a play on a ZX10 with the same clocks, and they're just not nice to use or look at, especially if it's sunny. They're not very nice. But there's maybe a bit of prejudice on my part there. Other people might like them. And there you go. Really, really, really good bike. I cannot recommend this bike to you enough. It is absolutely fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting. You're all absolute legends. And fingers crossed it stops snowing soon and we can all get out on the motorbikes properly. But yeah, thanks again. And fingers crossed I'll see you soon. Take care. Stay safe. Peace.